So welcome to this session, and welcome to everybody that is on this program. Thank you very much for your time, and you're welcome. So right now, as we have said earlier, we actually talked about career opportunities in Eastern Europe. And for those that have actually seen our jingles, we had Dr. Joshua Orabiyi that was giving us some of the salient points in the jingle. But right now we have him here. So not to waste our time, I will just welcome Dr. Joshua Orabiyi to have the floor. So, Dr. Joshua.
Get Jobs Nigeria having me tonight. I'm indeed very pleased to be on tonight's platform. And I want to really appreciate Engineer Bamdele for this very great opportunity. I really do want to welcome everyone else who is here. Tonight is going to be very brief, short, and because I know we're in the evening time of the day in Nigeria. My name is Dr. Joshua Orabiyi, and I am a lecturer of the Department of Mass Communication. My major is public relations and journalism. I have a master's degree in public relations and PhD in journalism. I have my background in civil engineering though. I have an OND in civil engineering from the very prestigious Lagos State Polytechnic. And I thank God for bringing me this journey far, you know, two different worlds. And today I am I'm a consultant. I assist people in finding themselves, in finding career, finding life. And this is what I do the most and the best. So it's a privilege to be here tonight. And on our topic, just not to waste time, I'll just give you a very short brief on what we have in this part of Eastern Europe. Very quickly, Eastern Europe is that part of Europe that we rarely speak about. I'd like to quickly list a few of these countries. Just give me a second. These are most of the countries that we rarely hear anything about. When we speak about Europe, I know most of us are those of us who grew up in the Nigerian environment, when there are just three major climes that we want to go to. That's Canada, that's the United States, and yes, I already got a job with a multinational company. I was recruited to be the general manager of an oil servicing company in 6 years, because there was an opportunity, there was a need. A Russian company had to start up in Nigeria, and there was a need for a young man who had leadership skills, who could understand the language, who knows the Russians very closely. So the language actually helps you to know more of the culture, and the culture makes you to understand more of the history, so that when the people talk, you'll be able to understand where they're coming from. There are some things that they say that doesn't need laughing, and there are some things that they say that really needs you to laugh about. There are some parts of their life that is very, very essential to them, and there are some parts that they do not count as very important. It's just like having any other person also who wants to come to live in Nigeria and will not understand the most major parts of Lagos. For example, if you have to reside in Lagos. For those of you who know Lagos, you know very well, you understand very well me that Lagos is a very special place. Ekoele, and if you are not a part of Lagos, you may get frustrated out of it. But if you're a part of Lagos, anywhere you go to in the world, you would desire to still return back home. So it is very paramount to get these three keys. And I should say that they are not compulsory, but they will help you if you will get the major part of the cake. and not only the ISEN. Okay, so what are the opportunities that are available in this part of the world? Basically, most people, or I would say I advise that people should get into these parts of the world by or on the wings of education, because education, again, is a means of passing information, of passing knowledge, of transferring important piece of information, of history, of culture. It is, again, not the language, the mind of the people towards you. So education still goes a long way. I know many of us are already educated and we have so much of degrees and we're just looking for ways to get greener pastures. But then I should say to you that even in most parts of these nations I've mentioned, they have scholarship programs, a lot of fully funded scholarship programs that are supposed to help students, postgraduate students, undergraduate students, PhD students, to get into the system. So it is easier. Again, let's go to the basics. You will not be refused visas in most cases if you're going to any of these countries as a student. If you were going to any of these countries as a worker or as something, you may not be granted visas. I can't explain to you what their mindset of visas are or is, but then I was in Nigeria just 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I left Nigeria 2 to 3 weeks ago. I spent 2 months in Nigeria. I had the opportunity to visit the Russian embassy. I had the opportunity to visit the Polish embassy. And you will not believe that the story is the same. People were complaining. A lot of people were denied visas. And when you ask them why, what happened? The first thing I noticed amongst this set of people that were denied visa were people who post to be going there to hustle. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to work. I'll be my own sponsor. So even for someone who wanted to study, who is saying that he will be his own sponsor, you already shot yourself in the leg, because they understand that you're just using them as a means to an end. One other thing on the visa that these nations, you need to know about these nations, is that they feel that you are not actually making them priority, that they're not priority for you. That you actually want to cross over to other parts of Europe or eventually to the US or to Canada, and you do not have their countries at heart. And for them, they want people that they can build with. They want people that they can rub minds with and grow their economy with, just like we already have in the major other parts of the West. So it is paramount to say that people should consider gaining an education in these parts of the world so that it is easier to get into the system. Okay, let's go back to what are the opportunities that we have available in these parts of the world. Number one, they need language teachers. Are you surprised to hear that? They need language teachers. And what's language? English. Every Nigerian is a native English speaker. This is the most simple kind of job that any Nigerian can do. It is, simplest. Whatever English you are speaking right now is already, perfect for them. And you will be so surprised that even in these parts of the world, people earn as much as $1,500, $2,000 every month on teaching English language. So I don't know if there's any Nigerian who passed through school who cannot teach English. It's not Cambridge English. It is English to beginners. Zero level, absolutely zero level. So this is general for us. Everyone can do it. Number two, they need IT specialists. I should say that one thing that is very particular with these parts of the world is that they're very innovative. They are very high in technology. So they continually have a test for more in technology. They need IT specialists. They need people who are gurus, because they themselves are gurus. And so they want to absorb much more of such people into their system. They need engineers. They are very highly, again, in technology, they are highly placed in the world. And so they want brains and minds that can build together with them. Again, engineers are always anywhere in the world, engineers are never thrown away. They are always needed. But in this part of the world, they are even much more special. And again, just like we need in Africa, they also need doctors. They need a lot of doctors. They need a lot of doctors. They themselves produce doctors, but they know and they understand the value of the medical practitioners in their environment. Now let's go to the general type of jobs. They need service people. They need people who work in their shops, in the McDonald's, in the KFCs, in the Burger Kings. You will see them everywhere. Africans can be service people everywhere. Everywhere, anywhere you mention it, Africans we're everywhere. They need service people all around. They need people who can do menial jobs, who work in construction sites, who work as cleaners. They need people and this type of people are people who can already get a simple accommodation even as you get on the job, as you lay your hands on work. You get a moderate place and you can already grow from there into the system, especially for those who say, I'm not going to become a student. Like I would advise everyone to be, but not everyone is ready to do that. They need such people who will do basic job. They need nurses. They need nurses. They need nurses. Nurses, I do not mean only medical practitioners, but I mean those who can serve as nannies, those who can train, who can bring teach and nurture children. Well, this is basically for ladies. That's why ladies even get more jobs in this part of the world than the guys do when it comes to nannies, because everybody's giving back to children and they need nannies. They need nannies to take care of elderly people as well. So these are people that are very, very essential everywhere. They need kindergarten supervisors, those who may not be teachers, but they just stay around to take care of children at the kindergartens. Kindergartens are everywhere, so they need kindergarten assistants or supervisors, those who will nurse children, who will play with them. In fact, you'll be surprised that they don't want you to teach the child anything. They only want you to play with the child. They just want the child to, you know what we call in my language, jeliosimi. That it is the real jeliosimi they have in their kindergartens, that they bring their children the money while they go to work, and all they want you to do is just play with the child. If you come and you're too serious, they'll tell you, sorry, the job is not good enough for you. And these jobs are really well-paid jobs. I mean, well-paid jobs. So these and a lot more is what we have under this cover of the environment called the Eastern Europe, and most people may not eventually know about. And I think because of time, I would like to take your questions, but I would like to tell you that I, as an academician, would really do encourage that Nigerians can take up the position of students, take the opportunity to study, because while you do that, you have the covering already of an institution who is your first invitee, so to say, the one who is bringing you in and answers for you till you can get your feet standing. And don't forget that I said the people appreciate those who can speak their language, those who can understand their culture, and those who will not forget their history. So that when you know a man's history, you know how to deal with him. I'll put a pen on it here, right here, and then I'll take questions very quickly because of our time. And I promise next time to always be on our screen. Thank you very much once again.
Okay.
Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Joshua. There are some people that came later after you had started, but I have one question here.
Yes,
the question says, can an applicant move with his or her family? Can an applicant move with his or her family?
That's very, very possible. Depending on the nation. Let me take a nation like, in fact, almost all nations. It depends on the institution and depends on your host. If, for example, again, I did not mention on types of visa where we have the student visa, we have the work visa, we have tourist visa, we have diplomatic visa. So let's stay on those 4 types of visa. If you are going as a student, for example, you get an invitation from a university to study, especially as a postgraduate student. Most universities are supposed to give you the right to bring your families along with you, most universities. But then we advise that one person should come first. so that it is not of a burden. You are still going to a place where you want to find bread yourself. Even in the plane, when we fly, they tell you to first put on your mask before you help the next person, even your child. So it is our own usual advice that if the man is the one going, we advise that the man should please go first. And then he already understands the terrain. He knows where to put his feet before he can bring others. You don't ask a frog for a seat when it itself is squatting. Families have come and have had problems that way when everybody came, and immediately they had to send back sometimes the kids home and stuff like that. But then when you come, you understand the terrain, you will be able to say, okay, I think you can come this way. I think you can fit in here. I think you're fitting. I've seen families who eventually the husband decides to stay here and the wife decided to stay back. And it pays them so much because the man is making money and he discovered that there are some businesses they can actually invest in back in Nigeria and vice versa. I was still speaking with a man the last time I came home. His wife is here. In fact, she's our church member. He's not even seeing his last child at all at any time because she was pregnant when she was leaving. And I had seen both child and father and mother, and they told me we are okay this way, sir. The woman is doing well. She already got a residence permit, and she's sending money home. The husband is fine, making the business work, the family business work. So it is always advisable that one person go so that we do not put all of our investments in one basket and eventually we regret it in any climb, in any form. That would be my advice.
Okay, thank you very much. People are asking,
yes,
how do we access this opportunity, the links and the process involved? We would appreciate if you can guide us through the process.
Yes, I believe that eventually we can get links from Get Jobs Nigeria because we'll be sending every material necessary, especially for Russia. I am in Russia. My family is here. My wife is here. My wife's a medical doctor. We have 4 kids. I work here. I live here. I'm always in Nigeria and I'm back here. So the environment is safe, is in fact for young families, people who are just coming up and eventually may want to transit to some other places. So we will be sending all necessary information to Get Jobs NG, and from there we can get it. There are scholarship opportunities. In fact, for those who are postgraduates right now, who just wrote exams last year, who are within 17 to 20 years old, we can guide you through the next set of scholarships that will be coming. It's a bilateral agreement between Nigeria and Russia, and these are free tuition, free everything, including monthly stipends of about $500 every month that will be given to students. They'll pay for their flights, pay for their visa fees, pay everything. Anyone who enters into such program is already a successful person in his life, and you can keep studying till you get to PhD level free of charge and still with stipends. So if we have people who are in this category, please reach out to Get Jobs NG. Will be ready to give you information. I must say to you that right now in Nigeria, one of the reasons why I've been frequent home from the summer, that is from July, is that we started up a language center, a Russian language center in Nigeria. We have these centers in Lagos and in Abuja and in different parts of different parts of the country, and through these means, through these centers, you have direct access, especially into the Russian environment. I'm talking about Russia now because this opportunity we got through my influence in the university as a lecturer, and so it is a university's program, my university's program, together with a Nigerian institution hosting the program. For those who are in Lagos, you know the famous Yaba Tech. That center runs inside Yaba Tech itself at Yaba Consult. And anyone who enters that place directly already finds his way straight into the system. Not only to Russia, but then to Georgia, to Kazakhstan, to Belarus, to nations that are around us. And we would assist in getting direct entry into universities. We will give information about scholarship opportunities that will be starting up already from November, December. And then we would assist to get a smooth landing into the system. But all of this would also be given to Get Jobs NG. I want to ask again that we should please reach out to Get Jobs, and because they are hosts for tonight, every information you need will be given to you. As for Latvia, Lithuania, and the other guys around us, Bosnia, Herzegovina, that their name is somehow difficult to pronounce. They have about the same system with us. If you apply through the internet to any one of them saying you want to study, immediately they reach out to you, and you'll be surprised that there are scholarship opportunities that you never even heard of. In Russia, for example, for postgraduate students, for master students, from November, December, there will be open a lot of scholarship opportunities, a lot for master students. And we always want our Nigerian people to make use of these platforms. When you get in, from there, you can choose if you want to stay or you want to move to another climate. It is easier already for you from here, aside the fact that you have an extra degree free of charge. Thank you, sir.
Interesting. Thank you very much for this insights. I know we have people that are actually chatting me also in the background, and I would just like to summarize some of the thought process and some of the questions they might have. Now, I just graduated, and I'm single, and I wish to further my career in some of these countries that you've mentioned. Now, what is the first process I need to consider, considering that I don't have a job yet? However, I wish to, I'm just a beginner. So how do I start? How much am I supposed to have to even begin this process? You actually mentioned that, okay, you're going to send the links, but just an idea of the financial backup I'm supposed to have to even make an inroad. Then apart from that, how lucrative are these opportunities? Because there are a lot of people that have that mindset that the poverty level is actually on the high side in comparison to Nigeria. So how do you debunk all this? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's start with the poverty level. If these nations are still very poor, believe me, they will not give you scholarship. Nigeria does not give anybody scholarship. Those scholarships that we see, they are for their family members and they are within. But these ones, they extend their hands of love even towards, not just to Africa, but the rest of the world. These scholarship spaces are being paid for by their own education ministries. It means they do not only value education for their own citizens, but they even value it for foreigners. And when you come to their countries, you will understand that it is not what you have always heard in the news. One of those things that we have come to see in today's world is that not everything we hear on the news is true. I believe everyone already, at least those who have followed the news to an extent, with their common sense, have been able to understand to some extent that it's not everything that even the United States says that is right. Russia, for example, until people came for the World Cup in 2018, I mean, Westerners, people from UK, people from US itself, from Australia, from Canada, they could not believe their eyes. Moscow, as the capital city of Russia, is far beautiful than many top world cities that you will ever hear of. But because these countries do not make noise, they believe that PR is lies. So they do not believe they should make noise. They believe that empty barrels make the loudest noises. So they live very quiet lives. What if I told you that Russia is the wealthiest nation in the world? You will never believe it. And that's just the truth. Because Russia is the largest nation in the world. It covers 1/6% of the whole world landmass. It has gas, oil, it has very fertile land, and it has everything possible. Now, until you seek and search, you will never find such information. So that's why it is necessary to keep finding. Don't just believe whatever you hear around. That's aside this. The environments are far better than Nigeria. Let's not just lie to ourselves. You get exposed, you get connections to other people. The rich people always send their children at will to these parts of the world to get more knowledge and get more exposure. Now, as per how do you start? Let me give you a very let me bring it to the list. If you're coming in as a student, for example, you will need to make an application. Let's say you're going through the language center I spoke about. The language center is going to cost you currently $1,500. And with this, you do not need to spend anything again except your ticket fee to Moscow and your visa fee, which will cost about, let's say, $1,500, and then your ticket and your visa fee. Let's say you spend about 1.5 to 2 million naira. And with that, you are already in the system. You're already here. You can already make a new start a life with this. In Russia, we have programs, we have part-time programs and full-time programs. We have part-time programs that are as cheap as $600 per annum. Real programs. I mean, BSc and MSc, as cheap as $600.
So
yes, sir.
Now, if we convert $600, we multiply it by the current rate. Let's say approximately 800 naira. So that's about 48,000 naira.
That's 480 should be, I suppose.
Okay, 480,000 naira. Okay, yes. Just for clarity for our viewers.
Yes, sir. And these programs permit you to work, to get a job. You can work. You can, and you are not asked to pay once. You are asked to pay even in bits. That's the worst part of the whole story. It's as though you are giving free education, because the jobs you will do will definitely sustain you, pay your fees, settle you, especially when you're in parts close to Moscow. In the university where I do part-time, we have part-time programs of $1,000, $1,000, and you are given accommodation at the same time on campus. The accommodation, I think, it's like 7,000 naira per day. I mean, per month, thereabout. So, and then you will be working from Monday to Friday and go to school on Saturdays. And in a month, if you have a steady job, in a month, you can earn as much as the same $1,000 in a month. $1,000, $1,100, $1,200. So it is a reality that is very, very possible for people who want a fresh breath, who want a new life, who want to at least get out. Especially like you said, sir, in your question, someone who is still single, who still can explore, has the vision, a real Nigerian, someone who is an hustler, ready to survive, ready to make it in life. For these people, it is a possibility, and it can work, and it will work. I've seen people who actually came like that, and today the story is totally different. The story is different.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would also like to ask, I know you mentioned earlier the courses that are actually in high demand. You mentioned doctors. I actually put them in the chat box. You mentioned doctors, you mentioned caregivers, nurses, doctors, IT specialists, construction workers, and someone is asking that someone asked that what are the requirements for students for you to be a student? Well, let's talk of postgraduate first, then we'll now go to undergraduate. What are the minimum requirements for Nigerians that want to come study there?
The most minimum is your WAEC certificate, okay, your BSc certificate and its transcript, and your international passport. Nothing more. Nothing more.
How about HND?
For HND, we give two advices. Number one, the Russian government has an agreement with the Nigerian government, bilateral agreement on education. And so the Nigerian government is already giving an impression to the Russian government that the HND is not equal to BSc. So for this reason, what we advise HND students to do is that they come in and they come in for the language. While they're doing the language, we present their documents to the university and say, this is BSc actually, but then we don't mind when this man is done, for example, with the language, it will start up already from 4th year. So it means that you can get a degree, just like we do, direct entry, right? With HND. So it goes directly into 4th year as he's finishing the language, because they can size up his courses as per the transcript, and they see that it actually tallies. And he gets in 4th year, gets a new degree. That's how it works with HND people. Or for those who want to take a new course entirely, we ask them to start from the beginning. So they present their certificates again. Instead of starting from year 1, they push them to year 2 or to year 3, depending on the correlation of their new course to their former course, to their former area of specialization. That's what works with HND students. But because of Nigerian government, you will not be allowed to go for masters directly. You will take 1 more year to get a BSc.
Okay. So now, for those that want to begin the process, I know they have to apply for student visas. So what is the approximate fee for student visas in most of these countries? And apart from the student visas, what's the tuition like? Apart from the $600 you mentioned, that the $600 is for a course for a year for postgraduates, right?
For under and postgraduates.
Okay.
It's a part-time program. These are part-time programs. The part-time has more years. I mean, instead of 4 years, the part-time goes for 4.5 years. Sometimes for 5 years. For masters, instead of a full 1 year and 6 months, the part-time goes like 2 years and a few months. So that's the difference. That's why the fee is as cheap. $600 again. For part-time, we have another part-time for $1,000. Then the main schools, we have them, they span from $1,500 to $2,000 and down. 2,000, 2,005, 3,000, 3,005. In Russia, there are over 1,000 universities. And you pick them choice after the other. In each city, in Moscow alone, we have far over 200 to 300 universities in Moscow alone as a city. So they vary as according to their areas of specializations, because we have specialized universities for specialized programs. And we have general universities that have all programs in it. If you're looking for expensive universities, so like I said, they start from $600 down to $10,000. We have medicine in English, which is $9,500. We have medicine in English in another university, $6,000. In another university, $5,500. In another university, $3,500. So they vary as per the city, as per the university. And the level of education in Russia is the same everywhere. It doesn't change because it is controlled by the Ministry of Education. So not that a part is better than the other part. There is nothing like that. Everyone does the same thing, graduates with the same certificates as long as it's a government university. There are private universities too, but we always do not advise them, so that eventually when you're returning home and the Nigerian University Commission checks your certificate, they will see that it is certified. So that's how it works.
Yes, someone is asking a question. Can a student having NAPTEP results apply without WAEC? NAPTEP is, I think it's a national technological society, or I'm not too sure, but I think it has to do with technical school.
I know the NAPTEP.
Okay.
Yes, I know the NAPTEP. Yes, it's a technical school that is something close to WAEC. Instead of finishing SSC, you go to technical schools and you get the NAPTEP. I am not certain about that, but most certainly not. Again, like I said, this is an agreement with the government. It's on government level. The NAPTEP is internally accepted in Nigeria. It is not an international certificate. WAEC and NECO is accepted. GC is accepted. Anything that has West Africans, as long as they see West African on it, or they see Nigerian Examination Council, they accept it. But immediately it's NAPTEP, they start to ask, what is this one? Where did it come from? Yes, they see your certificates, they see your results, but then they are not certain if these things actually qualifies you to have finished an SSC. We all know that even sometimes the NAPTEP is is higher than the SSC because of the level of training and practicals that you have in the technical schools. But I doubt it if it will go through the international level, especially when you get to the Russian embassy and to all other embassies of your host countries.
Now, for the student programs, now, do they also accept opportunities for students to work while, you're studying? And if they accept, how many hours? Because I know some other countries, they accept that students work 20 hours in a week. So the Eastern European countries, how do they do theirs?
At the moment, they vary in countries. Some countries also give like hours of job. Like in Estonia, I know that in a day you cannot work more than, I think, 6 hours or so in a day. And you must get some special passes as to from your university before to present to your employer. This is close to the same thing we have, for example, in Russia, in Belarus, but it is not the same thing. Currently in Russia, anyone who gets a student visa already has a work visa attached to it. So your student visa is your work visa. So you can go anywhere and apply for a job, and then you are accepted. Every student is permitted to work. It's been in existence, I think, for over 2 years now. And anyone who enters into this cadre as a student is a worker.
So I have some other questions here. I have my
Yes, sir.
bachelor's degree certificate, unofficial transcript, and ID. I want to enroll for a master's degree program. Can I get a fully funded scholarship in Russia? What are the list of programs for masters and the ones covered under the fully funded scholarship?
All programs are available. And like I said, you will get links and information from Get Jobs Nigeria as soon as they come out. We have them in different forms. We have open doors scholarship. We have the Nigerian bilateral agreement with the Russian government. We have individual university scholarships. And this year, because we started the Russian Language Center in Nigeria, for those in Lagos, it's in Yabatek. I saw someone was asking, in Yabatek itself, the consult building, that's where we use. If immediately you get to consult building, you can already see the banner of the Russian Language Preparatory Center. And that place, immediately you get in, you are in Russia already. Now, when these links come out this year, this November, before the end of the month, we will start to send them to Get Jobs. And we'll start to make noise about it so that people can get registered before it is too late. November, December, January, these are the seasons that we enroll all courses. It's being released. And this year, for those who will be fortunate, you may also get an opportunity to enroll into the federal government scholarship, like I mentioned earlier, which is the most profitable of them all. It is free tuition. It is stipends of $500 every month. For students, it is free flights from Nigeria. In fact, anyone who gets on this program is a Buhari's child immediately, because you will not have to pay anything again, anything till you graduate. This is not a new program, and this is not exaggeration. This has been since independence. We just do not know about it because these are things that the high and mighty get to benefit from. Thanks to social media today, all of these things have leaked out. But those days, you never hear about this. Even if you hear they ask you to keep quiet, it's not meant for you. But today, all of these informations are outside, and we will keep sending them. Well, last time I was home, the embassy told me that the spaces have been increased from 100 to 250 for this new session that will start in November. And that those who will enroll in our centers may have the opportunity and opportunities to also get more privileges into this program. So I can only wish that this will come to a reality eventually in this new coming session that will start from now. The admission process will start from now.
Now, how accessible and cheap in terms of tuition are courses that have to do with manufacturing and processing, e.g. food science technology?
Accessible, affordable, depending on the cities. Again, Moscow is the capital city. Moscow may be a bit expensive. But then anything away from Moscow, the courses get cheaper. They get affordable. And like I said, we have a wide range of universities that we pick from, looking at the pockets of our clients, and at the same time, accessibility to the city and to jobs. So all of these things are what we put into place, thinking for you, and putting them into availability. I mean, into finished work already on your behalf, that you may be able to have them available. So every kind of course is available at different costs.
Okay. We also have a question here. Can someone with a second class lower or third class apply for these opportunities?
I believe it's a yes. It's a yes, because these opportunities will come with some kind of let's say I won't call them exams, so I'll call them like you need to fill some forms, you need to do this and that and all of those. It will not be requirements that would lead to, I mean, like with first class and all of, no. In Russia, they hardly do all of those, especially in Russia. They don't look at your degrees. They believe that when you come, we will work on you, we'll make it better. With the second class offer, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Again, we have oceans of opportunities that will be coming out this season against the next year's admission, and I believe everyone can take part in this.
Okay. I don't know. I've exhausted most of the questions here. However, for those that want to get more information based on all the things that Dr. Joshua has said, I have included a link for you to get in touch with Get Jobs. For you to, if you have any questions, there's a link there for you to get jobs. You can also send emails to hello@getjobs.ng if you have questions, but ensure that the subject of your email states career opportunities in Eastern Europe, so that we can actually understand why you're sending us a mail. Then there's another question here. Does it mean these opportunities are available even with the present situation of things in Russia? I know that a lot of people watch the news and see that there is a kind of war between Russia and Ukraine. So people are kind of skeptic about it. So could you please shed more light on that?
Okay, I will say very quickly in one word, Russia is a world power. Let me ask you a simple question. When the US invades Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, does the US have a war going on in US at the same time? The answer is no, because world powers have the right to invade, but the lower countries or their subordinates do not have the powers to invade them in turn. No country can invade Russia, no country. The day a war starts in Russia is the day the war also gets to our villages in Ekiti State and in Anambra State directly, because it becomes a world war. Russia is a world power. It has the largest number of the nuclear heads in the world, and no other nation of the earth has the right, not even the United States, have the right to face Russia, because it will turn to a third world war. And nobody's ready for that at this moment. So Russia is invading Ukraine, and that's not, it is, again, this is just because of other countries' interferences. These two countries are the same thing. They are not different. Russia is Ukraine. Ukraine is Russia. They are brothers. It's for those of you who are who are much more used to the southwest of Nigeria. You know that Ondo and Ekiti State are brothers. They broke from each other. That's the same way Ukraine is to Russia. There's no difference. The language is the same. The people are the same. The culture is the same. The religion is the same. My wife studied in Ukraine. I used to go to Ukraine those days while I was still courting my wife. It was as though you were coming from the city to the village each time I came. No difference. The same people. Until we started to have Western interference, the US is the one actually fighting. It's a proxy war. The US is trying to fight Russia. It's trying to bring Russia down to its knees, because Russia is growing too much economically, almost tougher than what the West will be able to handle. So the West is looking for a way to bring it down in its economic strength, and it cannot fight it directly, so it decided to go and fight it on its own younger brother's soil. That's just it. That's to explain that. So there is absolutely no problem in Russia. And I should even say to you that whatsoever is going on between Russia and Ukraine today, the West, the whole of Europe is the one suffering from it. The whole of Europe, and not only Europe, even all of you in Nigeria. I was home the last time. The pomade that they will sell usually for 15 naira, now they're selling it for Now they're selling for 200. And everybody says it's because of Russia. It is not Russia, it is the US and the world giants that are fighting each other. But I believe they are coming to understanding right now already, and we pray for peace. We only pray for peace.
Amen. Now, I know there are some parents that are also here trying to understand how safe is it for me to send my daughter or my son to Eastern Europe to study and to work. How safe is it for them?
Very safe. I am here. My family, my children are here. I was in Nigeria just 3 weeks ago. I'm back here. I was in Nigeria in July. I came back in August. I returned in September. I came back in November. I'm planning my trip already to Nigeria again ahead of January. We have everything here. We have churches. We have families. We have people. We have. It's a very beautiful place. Very, very safe. In fact, it is one of the safest nations on earth. Aside the fact that it also hosts rights values. It does not believe in LGBTQ, does not believe in too much of human rights. It believes that things must go the right way they ought to go. So it is one nation that that everyone needs to experience and come to understand. The people love them for who they are. It's a beautiful place. I can testify. It's my 15th year in Russia, 15, and it's just the beginning of the journey.
So thank you very much. Also, I know people will also have questions concerning how adaptable or how soon can I understand the Russian language so that I'll be able to integrate into the society. And at first, I applied for a school in postgraduate program in Russia or any of the Eastern European countries. And I'm there as an English speaker. I understand English. So how do I cope? That is one. Then two, in adaptation, how easily can I adapt to the language? How easily can I learn the language? So that's the question.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for the question. Just this year, 2 of my nieces finished from Russia. One of them finished as a medical doctor. The other one finished as a computer analyst. Both of them studied in English language. I was not in support of it when their father said, these children of nowadays, let them study with English. I said, sir, I'm not in support, but then let your will be done. You are the one who paid the school fees. You are their father. I am just their uncle. With support of environmental support and all of it, I'm always here. But I prefer that someone can live in an environment, can understand the language of the people again, like I said, their culture. Eventually, when you are out of here, you can relate. You can relate. That's all. But we have English speakers everywhere, especially in the medical school. Today, most Nigerian parents do not send their children to study with English language. They send them to, with Russian. They send them to study with English. 6 years, medical doctor, graduate, no single Russian word. And they lived in the environment. They created their own world. We have Nigerian churches, Redeem, Christ Apostolic Church, MFM, Deeper Life. When they leave school, they go to the shop and say the little Russian they can say. And from there, they get to church and then they go to, it's just like creating a Western world within Russia. I personally do not like it because I have enjoyed the Russian world so much. I think the engineer can testify to that. I have Russian friends, a lot of them. So what I do not understand how you will live in this environment and you cannot even boast of having one Russian friend who you speak Russian with. Nothing more. But as per English, my wife studied with English also in Ukraine. And I should say also for those students who are displaced in Ukraine, Russia is welcoming you. Come and study. Even I gave an interview to Channels TV at the earlier part of the invasion. The Russian government was giving scholarship free to everyone who left Ukraine. Everyone. I have the records. I will send it also to us. With Channels TV, I shouted about it. Go to the Russian embassy and collect the scholarships free from whatever class you stopped. So it is every possibility is made available. Your money can get you anything you want, and with God's favor, God on your side, you can also get anywhere you want to go. Who will have said I today will be a lecturer in 2 universities at the same time. I came as just a boy who didn't understand yes or no. And today I lecture even the people in their own language. I lecture with English, I lecture with Russian, I lecture to any extent. I've had the opportunity to meet the President Putin twice on different occasions. I was singing before him. I used to be a music representative of my university. And I've had the opportunity to speak in the United Nations in Russian. So the sky is not even, it's just a starting point, depending on everyone. We can all do it. Nigerians, we are good. God has blessed us specially with that.
Yes, I also want to use this opportunity to congratulate you on the award that you received from the Minister of Culture for Russia. Congratulations on that. You're doing Nigeria proud in that country. And I also want to ask this question. Now, what is another fear for an average Nigerian is racism. There's this mindset that racist culture still exists, and favoritism and nepotism, especially if you're not a white. So what do you want to shed more light on that?
Well, I should say that that is something that is in the ocean of the past. We don't have such anymore. It still exists with people who are from the village. Some people have not seen a black person before in their life. So when they see a black person, they're in shock. They want to touch him. The last time I came home with my friend last year, sir, where we visited, just shortly after we visited your office, we went to Computer Village, and I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. So I visited Nigeria with my best friend, Russian, and I took him to Computer Village. And everybody was saying, Oyibo, 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 Oyibo. And he had to ask me, what is it? What is this Oyibo they're talking about? I couldn't even explain to him. I couldn't explain to him what Oyibo is. This is the same character of the Russian people. So a black man, someone they've never seen before. Children can walk up to you and touch your skin to know maybe you intentionally painted yourself, because they can't just imagine that what they see on TV has eventually come to reality to them. And nothing more. It's just out of inquisitiveness and wanting to know if you're a real person, nothing more. But the racism is far over. In cities, nobody even cares if you are purple or green or red, you are a human being. They've seen people like you over and again. We have interracial marriages everywhere. We have mixed children everywhere. So it's not new to people in cities. It's only people who are in the suburbs, in the regions, that may see you as a special person. And racism is a thing of the past, especially after the World Cup. After the World Cup, Russia came on the limelight and people came to understand, Russians themselves came to understand that we cannot continue to be in the past. We must move to the future. And Russia is a nation of the future.
Thank you very much for the enlightenment and the insights. I see that there are no more questions. And I think you've done justice to a lot of all these gray areas. So we spent approximately 1 hour. And
Yes,
for our viewers, I already said it again, if you wish to get in touch with Dr. Joshua, our email has been shared on the screen and also in the chat box. I'm going to repeat it again. Just send us a mail on hello@getjobs.ng. Hello as in HELLO at getjobs. Get jobs spelled together, GETJOBS.ng. We have also shared our WhatsApp link that you can use to get in touch with us directly, and you'll be able to get all the necessary information on this particular topic. There's there's a last question here. Any benefits for couples? I mean, if for instance my wife gets an admission, any benefit for me? You're muted. I think you're muted.
Yes, sir. I already touched on this, that in some cases such is possible. But like I said, we always advise that the first person, one person goes first. The benefits are available, and they are in their, I mean, they are in their large quantities. But then we do not want the two people to jump into the boat at once. We want one person to go and then can make a way for the other person. It is easier. It is far easier that way. But there are benefits for families, especially when you. I forgot to say that if you came as a master student, for example, you studied for 2 years, let's say 2 years, and you finish with the first class, you will get a permanent residence permit immediately. It's the law of the country. If you study in any level and you get a first class, it's a permanent residence permit. And after that, you get citizenship. So with this, that's enough benefits already for you. There are countries that you can enter without visa. Several countries. Aside this, you have the same opportunity that the citizens also do have. And your children can eventually go to school. Free education here is free from 0 level till professorship. You can keep studying for free. As long as you write exams, you pass exams, you are blessed. So there are several opportunities. They are tapped one after the other.
Okay. Now, okay, someone is asking when these links are available, will it be posted on the Get Jobs group to notify us? Like I said, I shared my email address for us because we want to know if you're really in for it, and that is why I've shared my email address. Once you need any information, please just send us a mail at hello@getjobs.ng, but ensure that the subject of the email is career opportunities in Eastern Europe. And also the chat, some people, I'm already getting chats on WhatsApp. I've sent the link to our chat. You can always reach us via those links that I shared. So please, is there any age barrier for students? I don't think. That's the question.
No, there isn't. You could only encounter some challenges at the embassy if you cannot defend the fact that you're going to study. Everybody believes that a Nigerian is running away. So until you can really prove that I'm going to study, I'm a student, but there isn't. You will get invite. I've seen people of 50-something years old get invites to study BSc, not MSc, BSc. You get an invite. You just need to prove to the consular that you're actually going to study. Why have you not been studying all the while? Or you want to get a second degree. So there are no barriers.
Okay.
For the Russians, age is no barrier when it comes to academics, to education.
Then also, I know that we have some Nigerians that want to understand the kind of culture in terms of some people get there and want to, like you said, you have a first class for your first degree. And once you have a first class, you're entitled to, you said permanent residency?
Permanent residence permit.
Okay, once you have a first class, you're entitled to permanent residence. So for Nigerians that are there, and is it okay for a single guy to get married, interracial marriages, and how is it encouraged there based on your experience? And
the government encourages this.
Okay, and once you get married to someone from that side, an average Nigerian will want to know, once you get married, does he entitle you to being a citizen if you are still not, if you did not come out with a first class, and details like that?
If you get married, again, the question of marriage is an automatic one in the law. I should say that Russia, especially for men, is a very good place because we lack men. Russia itself has just 140 million people, and it covers, and it is 1/6% of the whole world. 1/6 land mass of the whole world, not percent. 1/6 land mass is 1/6 times the rest of the world is Russia. That's the space. And we have only 140 million people. In comparison to Nigeria, that only God knows how small we are, and we have over 200. So, and we have over 60% of people to be women.
Wow.
Well over 60%. So we have a deficit of men in the environment, and especially with the fact that the nation Russia is a world power, so it always has to go to battles, it always has to fight. So men always have to go compulsorily to the army, compulsorily. Those who are citizens. So in this climb, everyone who comes here automatically gets an opportunity to get married,